Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors, lovers and haters, screamers and shouters, inners and outers, and all the people that go sideways. It's 8:30. It's Thursday. It should be about something.
And today, coming to you live from Vienna, the city that never sleeps, the city that never stops, the city that keeps going no matter what happens, no matter how cold it gets. The amazing Jim Libby.
And also from that same place that this guy just talked about. It's Michael Smolik.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of It Should Be About Something. We hope you've all got your drinks, because we have that nice little ritual. Every time we drink, you should drink, so that you don't hear us going...
That's right.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Cheers everybody. Nice to have you here.
We got everybody coming in on the chat. Hey Michael.
Hey Jim. I'm drinking.
Boom. Slurp, slurp. So, Michael, before we get into it, normally It Should Be About Something comes to you in 3 chapters. It's the same tonight. But before we get to any of that, let's talk about some stuff.
Yes, we have to talk about the way cats have taken over our show. It was bound to happen at some point. The internet has been taken over by cats, and now they're taking over our show. Next week, we're going to be coming to you as cats. We're going to have those filters on our faces.
Really?
Whiskers.
Do we have a budget for that? It's going to be like the Cats movie, you know, that was so terrible. Apparently.
No, we have no budget, so we're going to just paint whiskers on our faces.
Oh man, people have to pay extra for that.
People are paying us to do this shit?
Yeah. Oh. Well, double it then.
Yeah.
Not even extra, just double it.
So actually, at this, we actually have to say big woof woofs to Pavlov's dog.
Yeah. Hello, Pavlov's dog.
Yeah, Pavlov's dog.
We saw Mr. Perkins is here and Marcus. And
yeah, but particularly big woof woofs to Pavlov's dog, because Pavlov's dog did a doo-doo in our PayPal thingy.
What?
Yeah.
Thank you, Pavlov's dog.
Big dump there. So thank you, Pavlov's dog.
Thank you so much. And Phase E12T13.
Ooh,
this is great.
Somebody new here.
Yeah.
Hello, Phase E12T13. I wonder whether L21, T24 and Phase E12T13 are friends.
Yeah.
They live on the same block.
It's like a thing. Marcus just wrote, nice haircut. I want to talk about the haircut. I got my hair cut, and it was today.
I didn't get my hair cut, but thank you, Marcus.
I got my hair cut today, and it was really cool. And I want to give a big shout out to my boys who were at this wonderful place. It's called Schick, and it's in the Schwegelerstraße 18. Schick. It is a Friseur-Barber for Damen und Herren.
And you got one of those things where you can get like a stamp and get a free haircut?
But the reason I grabbed it was not because of that. Because I wanted to give a really big shout out, und ich werde es auch auf Deutsch sagen für die Burschen. Ali und Ahmed und Hussein, thank you guys so much. Danke, danke, danke. Ihr wart so süß und so nett und so cool. When I came in, they were watching on YouTube. They were watching.
So they had nothing to do. There was just the 3 of them standing around the shop with nobody.
I mean, yeah, because we're not in lockdown.
So 3 guys give you 1 haircut.
No, they were just hanging out like in the barbershop,
cool.
man, you know? And
Ali
did my snips, and I think he did it tight. He did it tight.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a good job.
Yeah.
It's like I think you couldn't go with the gel every day. Like you'd have to be in a 50s.
I mean, he did the
series,
thing. He did the thing. I told him though. I said,
did you use one of those very, very, very thin combs? That bristle brush. That very thin bristle brush, like turn your hair up.
Really got that hard. Where am I? Got my hard part. You know, Ali was really cool because I said, dude, I want to look like a pilot from the 1960s. I want to look like an off-duty pilot from the 1960s. And I think he hit it.
You look like an off-license pilot from the 1960s.
There you go. In any case, these guys, they were watching on YouTube videos of weddings. So like DJs doing things at weddings, and they were all Kurdish weddings because these guys came from the north of Syria, and super nice guys, very cool. If you need a haircut, please go to Schick in the Schweglerstraße.
Yeah, I'm checking them out.
Check those guys out. Boys, rock and fucking roll. Thank you very much.
The place I usually go?
Yeah.
I was in there the other day, and my guy hasn't been there, so I haven't been in. You know, I had a test, everything. I went and I've walked past, and the other guy was there, and I don't like going to him because he's kind of harsh on my scalp. He cut Jim's hair a couple of weeks ago. You know, we weren't happy. It was there's issues, right? So I just opened the door and like, where's the guy? And he's like, no, gekündigt. So I'm not sure whether he got fired or he just quit or he's gone somewhere else. Unfortunately, I don't know where he's gone, so I'm gonna have to find a new barber.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go and check these guys out.
You should. So, gentlemen, mein Herrn, in Schick, Michael wird zu euch kommen.
Are they watching the show now?
Ich hab gesagt. I told him. Right. I said
did you give them a link?
I gave him the thing to if you guys are out there, say hi in the chat.
Yes, say hi in the chat.
Say hi in the chat. Maybe you can throw up the link. Ich weiß nicht, ob ihr eine Webseite habt, aber die sind super.
Right. So we've got the cats and the haircuts and snip. So when you said you got a snip,
I got my snips on.
Yeah. But, you know, there's getting a snip. I'm not actually sure whether this is a snip. Like getting a snip for a man, getting a snip is that other thing.
Dude, what else?
Like and Andrew's dogs just fled the room.
Get down with the vernacular, man. Get down with the vernacular.
Hey, so have we done enough?
I think we've done our catch up.
Done enough catching up.
I think it's time to get to chapter 1.
All right.
Let's get into it. We've got 3 things to talk about. Here's chapter 1.
Here we go.
On the last thing you did for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was actually your idea. So have you got something to go with this? Do you actually have something that you did, the last thing you did for the first time?
Okay, you know, your whole thing about this was your idea bullshit, I don't know about that. We need to talk about this. Yeah, was it my idea? I don't know. You start. I want you to start, Michael.
No, I always start.
Okay,
that's why I'm passing the ball to you because
how you did it.
Usually this is how it works. Right? So we come up with something and we change the chapter or whatever. And Jim here, see, we're in the same room. I can actually touch him.
Yeah.
We'll go. So Michael, and then I'll get interviewed on whatever his shitty idea was.
True that.
So here we are.
All right.
I don't actually think it's a shitty idea, but I do want to hear what you'll, because I think you were thinking of something particular when you said, what's the last thing you did for the first time?
I just think it was probably a nice turn of phrase, but I am going to answer this. So the last thing I did for the first time was willingly go for a walk. Like to willingly go for what they call an walk.
Like I walk. My wife and I walk, and we've invited Jim on numerous occasions. It's like we go out into the forest to get some fresh air and get some moves and just take in the nice scenery and get some sun and whatever. And Jim's like, nah, not doing that. Don't walk. So then I kind of cottoned onto this and I was like, yeah, Jim, let's go out in the forest and check it out. There'll be stuff there to check out, you know. No.
I like how he
doesn't do it.
I like how he asks me what my thing is and then tells everybody what my thing is. Yeah, all of that is true, Michael.
Yeah, so what's the last thing you did for the first time?
I willingly went for a walk without it having to be
I believe that it was
adventure.
The last thing you did for the first time.
And because
Adventure, Jim.
I like my adventures. I like to have a thing. Just walking for the sake of walking, which for me I equate very much with Austrians. I mean, I grew up in the country. I did a lot of walking, but you walked for a purpose. I never walked just for the sake of walking. And so I like to have an adventure. And recently, because in January, I decided, a resolution. I had a New Year's resolution that every day I would do some sort of physical activity for at least 30 minutes. just to try to kick my shit back
and
into
on
gear.
Thursday, you kind of fell back on going for a walk because you couldn't think of anything else to do.
And at one point recently, I decided I was going to go for a walk. So maybe it still had a purpose because but I was walking actually for the sake of walking. And it was really nice. It was really very nice. And in fact, today, I did the same thing. I didn't have to walk from the first district all the way here to the studio, but I did. And it was really delicious. The sun was beautiful.
But this is what I'm always talking about when we go walking. And you're like, nah.
When I'm out there, I'm happy. I'm just saying, let me stop yucking my yum. I had a good time.
Good.
And yes, fine, you told me so. God. What was your last thing you did for the first time? And before you answer, do you think it gets harder to do things for the first time the older you get? I guess that's just logical.
It gets harder to do things for the first time?
Yeah. Because you've been doing so many things. You've already done it.
But there's so many things to do. I don't think you can actually run out of things. Like I had a colonoscopy for that was one of the first things I did, the last things I did for the first time a couple of months ago. I wasn't even going to mention that. But you're talking about getting older. You get more things you can do for the first time. Like colonoscopies.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. There's plenty of things to do.
I can have a hip replaced for the first time as well.
Yeah. Okay, so what was the last thing?
So, one of the most enjoyable things I did for the first time recently was go on an extended motorcycle holiday with my wife.
Okay, so
I've been on several extended motorcycle holidays, but I've never been on one with my wife. And I think we were both a little bit apprehensive about maybe this could go south. Because we'd enjoy going out for a ride, but it's always nice weather, and we know where we're going to go. We kind of know where we're going to stop for lunch. It's a planned outing.
Right.
There's none of this, oh, we need to take a 2-hour detour, or there's something wrong with the bike, or we might have to sleep in a bus shelter, or
in that space between the exit and the highway, like rabbits in the briar bush. I've never done that.
So these things could happen, and a couple of things really did go seriously wrong on this trip, but we had an amazing time. Like, even when we're thinking about it now, there were a couple of things that were really, like this close to tearing each other's head off.
Oh, right.
Or just giving up and calling a taxi cab to take us home.
You go on, just leave me here.
No. It was like, we'll leave the bike here and just get a cab.
Just kick it over the side, cover it up with some brush,
throw some rocks on that and just leave it. Yeah.
Taxi!
But we had a fantastic time.
Right.
And we saw some amazing sights. Mm-hmm. And we were on the road for 10 days.
Nice.
Yeah.
The last thing you did for the first time. Let's hear it from you guys out in the chat. What was the last thing you did for the first time?
Well, so check it out. We know Andrew, like anybody who follows Andrew on Facebook, knows that he's got this Ford truck that he's fixed up, a flatbed.
Right.
And he's been doing all this driving around and carrying stuff for people. Yeah, I think we actually need to learn a little bit more about all this charity work that you're doing these days with your truck.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on in Oregon that there's fields burned by wildfires in the middle of winter?
He's in Washington.
Yeah, oh, right, Washington. But they're right next to each other.
Yes.
It's kind of the same corner of the country.
Sure.
Yeah, I did
Pam
choose the wrong state.
got into different versions of Rubik's Cubes and trying to learn how to solve them. Very cool.
So
I know how to solve all of them. Just take the stickers off and stick them back. There's one for free.
You know, before I learned how to take the stickers off
Yeah.
and unplug the little blocks, there's a kind of a ball inside with holes that you just stick the blocks into.
Yeah.
You can rearrange that as well.
But it is pretty fascinating, all that stuff with all the algorithms. So, but I want to hear.
But before we move on, Rubik's Cubes,
yes.
right? Have you ever solved a real Rubik's Cube? Like the 3x3 ones? The 3x3, the normal ones?
I mean, way back in the day, I remember my buddy Joey Joyner. Did I ever tell you about Joey Joyner?
We've heard about this boy,
Yeah.
But so you're saying you have never solved one?
He had one. And I remember screwing around with it. And then there was like, at that time, they had come out, but it wasn't like today where, you know, people learn the algorithms to do it. It was like back then people were still developing.
I went on
the
YouTube to find a tutorial to teach me how to solve one.
Right, yeah.
Recently, and all of them are wrong. All of the algorithms on YouTube are wrong. And there's like people like 10 or 15 lines down in the chat going, this is bullshit, doesn't work.
Right.
And it's all just hype. So I'm not actually sure there is an algorithm.
Well, I bet Pavlov's dog could help you out with your Rubik's Cube problem.
So, but then there's those Rubik's Cubes that have like 16 sides or
Well, yeah, there's lots of them, yeah. There were 3. Lee White was really into Rubik's Cube for a while, yeah. So, the last thing you did for the first time, and I was thinking about the last time you do something. Phase E12T13, there you go. The last thing you did for the first time was watch this bullshit.
E12.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. T13 sounds like a Terminator. E12 Terminator 13. Like, he's like a T13, not a T101 or a T1000. He's a T13. He's like
right.
a prototype.
But I was thinking about, you know, what very often we don't know when the last time we did something is.
Yeah.
Like, when's the last time your mom picked you up? There was a last time. When was the last time, you know, you...
Yeah.
We never know when that last time is going to be.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You know, you're often not looking for it. And then in those moments when you do know it, this is the last time I'm going to see this person. Mm-hmm. That's when it gets tough.
Do you know the relationship's over?
Yeah. There's, you know.
But is that the same thing as the last time you do something for the first time?
No, it's not. I was just thinking
you're
about.
On a tangent here.
I was just on a tangent of last times, you know, because these are first times, and then I was just thinking about last times.
I remember the last time I played pool, and I decided it was a game for kids and idiots, and never played it again.
And I think, you know, the last time I had a pet, you know.
I think I remember that
decided
was those 2 cats.
Yeah. When we talked about pets, you know, it's like I kind of decided, okay, that's the last time.
Right.
And death is the final frontier. That's true. True dat.
Built a business report in Excel, instructed by YouTube tutorials. There you are.
You can learn everything on YouTube.
We live in such magical times.
Right.
You can be sitting in the depths of Mordor and go, I want to learn how to crochet socks. YouTube, show me how to do that shit. And there will be 20,000 people from all over the planet showing you how to do exactly that.
It's such a blessing and a curse.
So, well, I don't know. People teaching how to do things is great. The internet,
no, that aspect of it.
I
just mean the fact that...
you're talking about social media.
No, I'm talking about the internet on its own.
The internet on its own?
Well, just the whole thing, you know. The last thing you did the first time, I want to talk to you about this. I think about the importance of doing things for the first time.
Yes. So always pushing the envelope and looking for things to do or being open to doing things.
And yeah, absolutely. You know, because we can actively choose to do things.
Like walking in the forest with your friends.
Like walking in the forest with your friends. Just to walk in the forest and not find a really cool place that serves an amazing hot chocolate. That would be good. True.
It was very
that.
expensive hot chocolate, and it wasn't in the forest. But the rest is true.
I'm just saying, you can do stuff on its own, but you can also make an adventure out of it. And I think we should try to find things to do for the first time. Pushing those boundaries, you know, is always very good. And I like that question. I like that idea of what's the last thing you did for the first time? And to remind ourselves that that's cool, even if it's a bad experience, but we're broadening our experience. And just like you were saying with being with your wife, you know, traveling is like accelerated living, right?
Yeah.
You go through so much with somebody. And I always like to recommend doing that like with a new relationship, because you get to learn about somebody really fast.
Like what do they eat, what don't they eat, how do they share?
How can they deal with...
how much luggage do they pack?
It's accelerated living, and so you go through a lot of stuff really fast. Moko in the house, nice. I tried out one of my grandmother's old recipes a couple of days ago. Very cool.
Did it work? Did it have a lot of butter?
Grandma's recipes should have a lot of butter.
They always have a lot of butter and a lot of
butter.
eggs. It's like Grandma's recipes always have like half a kilogram of butter and 12 eggs.
Yeah, yeah, because back then on the farm you didn't have anything.
It's like you were looking for ways to use those eggs. Yeah. I love old recipes. I just got an old recipe for Nusskipferl. Nusskipferl. It's Frau Zartlokal's recipe that my grandmother got and passed on to my mother.
Wait, so your grandmother got the recipe from
Frau Zartlokal.
And who is Frau Zartlokal?
Frau Zartlokal was her neighbor when she lived in the, I don't know, up there in the Fasangasse.
In the Fasangasse, im 3. Bezirk. And Zartlokal?
Frau Zartlokal, yeah.
What a great name. Zartlokal.
Zartlokal.
Zartlokal. With a Z?
Yeah, with a Z.
Zartlokal.
Zartlokal. So she made these awesome Nusskipferl.
Right.
My grandmother got the recipe from her, passed it on to my mother.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to try the recipe.
I
haven't tried it yet, but yeah. There's a lot to be said for old recipes.
Absolutely. Well, what do you think? I think we did a good job with this.
Yeah, I wanted to there was something else that I've done. Oh yeah.
Oh.
This the last thing I've done for the first time.
Yes.
Is play as a singer-songwriter without a band. I've been playing music for 35 years.
Yeah.
I've been a musician and a live music performer for 35 years.
Yeah.
I've never played without a band. I've always written my own songs. I've always arranged my own material, but I've always had a band. And so last year was the first time I've ever played without a band. And it's a completely different animal to having a band. It is so different.
So different. See, I've done a lot of that, playing by myself, playing with myself.
Getting back to me. Playing with myself.
How was it playing with yourself, Michael?
It's when you come from playing with a band, it seems like a huge limitation for a long time.
Yeah.
And then you start finding out what the really cool parts of being your own band, just you, because you can fuck with the tempo as much as you want.
Yeah.
You can repeat anything.
Yeah.
You can just riff on the moment.
Yeah.
And that's impossible to do with a band. Even a band that you're really down with.
Yeah.
Those things aren't going to work. And you can stretch things. You can stretch the moment. You can stop it in time for as long as you want. It's great. You know, there's a lot of,
and there's nobody else going, what I was thinking.
Yeah. We could go to C now.
Hey guys, I wrote a song. What's the last thing? That's the last thing the drummer said before he got kicked out of the band. Hey guys, I wrote a song.
So here's a topic. What's the last thing you did before you got fired?
Oh man.
Favorite recipes? Yes, Andrew Toy. God damn it, favorite recipes, yes.
That's a great one. You know what I realized, Michael? I realized we forgot our pieces of paper so we could do the thing.
Yeah, I realized that at the same moment. We have nothing for writing.
Nope. But we can remember it
We will
by
try
using
to.
the power of our mental thinking.
That is stolen from Plan 9 from outer space.
Plan 9 from outer space?
It's the weakness of your mental thinking or something like that.
When's the last time you saw Plan 9 from outer space?
Ooh, it was a while ago. I think it's at least 15 years ago.
Wow.
Probably 20.
You know what I dipped into recently was a movie that I don't think I'd seen since I was a teenager. It's called Rock. No, it's called Heavy Metal. It was based on the magazine Heavy Metal, which was sort of like a comic graphic novel magazine in the 70s and 80s. And they did an animated movie out of sequences from these graphic novels. And the soundtrack is sort of like this heavy rock soundtrack with some really great tunes in it. And it's all a little boy, you know, it's like all a little, like, you know, large-breasted warrior women and evil things happening. But the animation is very cool. The soundtrack is cool. John Candy is a voice.
Oh God! It's satire.
Well, no, it's spot on and real. And I remember really loving that movie when I was a teenager, and I hadn't seen it since then. And I saw it on Amazon recently.
I've never heard it. I've heard of it.
It's cool.
I should check it out.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I was going to check out what we were talking about last week.
Oh, damn
The Lobster.
The Lobster. I didn't get a chance to find it.
It was on my list.
But do you know where to find it? I think we have to rent it.
No, I saw my list and I was like, oh, yeah, I should do that. And then I did other shit. So it's still on my list.
See, Mr. Perkin knows heavy metal.
Yeah.
And apparently South Park did a parody of it. Hey,
Park.
Michael, I'm calling it. This
Yeah.
is it. We did chapter 1, the last thing you did for the first time.
That's the last time we did chapter 1 on the 18th of February.
That's the last time we did that for the first time.
Yeah. It was the last time we did it forever. Ever.
Don't say ever, ever.
I'm moving on to chapter 2.
Let's do it. Chapter 2. On what country is the strangest?
I think there are so many variables in this that we can only talk about what countries are the straight. Everybody drink right now.
Yeah, let's
Cheers.
get
Let's get that in you.
Slurp, slurp.
Yeah.
Okay, what countries are the strangest?
There's always aspects of certain countries.
Yes, absolutely.
Are strange, and there's aspects of other countries. But I don't think there's one particular country. I thought hard about this. That is the strangest.
Okay. You know, it's the strangest is it's always going to be that comparison, right? But you have to be able to compare them. There is always going to be a country that is the strangest, and that country is always going to be different for every other person. It doesn't matter.
I thought you were going to say it's always going to be Brazil.
It's always going to be Brazil. No, it's Belgium. It's Belgium.
Well,
is the
Belgium
answer.
is a close second because Belgium is a strange country, and Belgium's like my top strange country.
It's mine, so you can't take it. You can come up with another one.
Just because you interrupted me doesn't mean you get to keep it.
I do. In any case, there are a lot of strange countries, and there are a lot of strange aspects, and I want to back you up on this. You're absolutely right. There's a lot of weird aspects of countries.
So what's weird about Belgium?
I don't even want to start with Belgium.
But Belgium's on your list.
It is on my list, and it's my number 1. You really want to start there? Where's your sense of dramaturgy here?
Okay, yeah.
Why would I start with my number 1?
Let's start with number 3.
All right. Austria. Austria.
That's a cop-out.
Number 3 strangest country.
Why is Austria your number 3 strangest country?
Well, because you're pushing me and not getting into my conversation here. I'm saying Austria is going to be my 3rd strangest country because there's a lot of weird shit that goes down in Austria, and there's a lot of things about Austrians that are super weird.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, Andrew. Belgium is the only country on the planet with 100% illuminated highway network, and that is
strange.
It's so strange.
All right. Do you want to just talk about Belgium and how strange it is? Because I love talking about Belgium and how
fucking
strange Belgium
flames.
is. I love talking about how weird Belgium is.
I think we should. But okay, let's kind of work our way up to that.
All right.
So what are other strange countries?
I don't know. What do you got? You said you couldn't figure out a strange country, but there were aspects of countries that you find strange. Hit me with one. Let's go with Austria, the country in which we have chosen to live. And there's a lot of weird shit here. There's a lot of weird stuff in Austria.
Yeah, I don't think Austria is particularly strange.
Okay.
Not by comparison.
No?
No. No, I think...
Let's talk about Krampus.
So
Let's talk about Krampus. Like, Krampus is weird.
Okay, but okay. Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay,
Let's talk about my one, like up there, close to Belgium, is Luxembourg. Like, Luxembourg is one of the strangest places I've ever been to.
Oh, Luxembourg is super weird. Love it. Love Luxembourg. All right, why is Luxembourg
I don't know,
weird?
I like the people from Luxembourg, and Luxembourg has a lot going for it, but what makes it a strange place to go to is it's impossible to have a good time. I mean, it's really hard to have a good time these days.
Okay.
In general. But Luxembourg makes it particularly difficult for you, especially Luxembourg City. So I was doing the show in Luxembourg, and we're in a bar, and we've been rehearsing all day, and we went out for a drink after the rehearsal. And at 11 o'clock, the bars close. But so you know the bars close, that's okay. You know, you casually drink your drink, and then you find somewhere else to go.
Get home.
No way. Like, at 5 to 11, the barman came up to our table and said, okay, at 11 o'clock, we close, right? And we're like, okay, so we might order another drink or whatever. No. 11 on the dot, the cops walk in the door, and they're like, drink up, out.
Wow. They had your number.
The cops walked in the door. I'm like, yeah, I'm just drinking these. Like, no, you're drinking that now.
And you're out.
And you're out.
Dang. They literally
shut that place down.
Yeah, they literally roll up the sidewalks in Luxembourg. When we talked about terrible places to sleep, and I told you about
you slept on the highway.
You slept on the highway. I also told you about sleeping in a. I also slept outside of the Luxembourg airport. There's a parking lot.
I know that airport.
And on the other side, there's the building side of the parking lot, and there's like a woods side of the parking lot, and we slept in those woods.
That building looks like the head offices of a paint company from the 60s.
It's terrible. And the reason we had to sleep in the woods was because they kicked us out of the airport. We just wanted a place to sleep. Okay. Weird countries. I would have to say America is a super weird country.
There's very strange things about America. Like
super strange. Phase E12, T13. I'm super down with you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird stuff.
I think like as far as Western countries go, I think the US is particularly strange because you kind of think of Western countries in terms of Europe. So I mean, there's differences between Luxembourg and Belgium and Spain and Switzerland and Italy, right? And Austria. But it's all kind of a mishmash of more or less the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the US and everybody in those countries has more or less the same kind of life. It's
people are people, so why should it
kind of, but
yeah,
in
it's
the
all
US,
the same. Like those kids. Hold on, time out, just real quick. Those dudes that were watching, my dudes at Schick, who were watching those videos of the wedding. Mm. When I was watching it, it reminded me of Belush's wedding.
Oh right.
Of when everybody got up and it was so sweet. It was so nice. People are people, man.
Yeah.
But countries are weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, America's weird.
But what's kind of weird about America, that it's a first world country, is how it's in the jaws of the corporations. You don't have that that degree of corporate
influence
on every
aspect
of your life,
yeah.
as you have in the US. And I mean, I've only experienced it as a tourist.
Yeah.
But people are so...
Yeah, it's weird.
Like under the corporation's heel, almost. And,
or at least very much living in their water.
Yeah, and you definitely don't feel that. You don't notice that the same way in Europe, even. And I think it isn't the same in Europe. Like, you could argue there are aspects that are kind of similar, but I think,
well, of course,
I think there's a lot less corporate influence in politics in Europe. I know we like to think that it's almost all the same, but I think there's certain countries, and the US is one of them, where corporations have an enormous amount of influence.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. I mean, America, of course, does have its traditions as a country that have developed organically over the years. There is certainly a lot of differentiation in those traditions depending on which region of the US you're in, but there are also national traditions.
Yeah, but when you say tradition, like, what do you mean? Like,
oh, I mean like traditional things, the things that would define Austria as Austria, the traditional Austrian things or traditional Belgian things, the things that are separate for or specific to those countries.
Like Turkey and like eating turkeys and
oh, okay. So what are traditional? Are you asking me what are traditional American things?
For instance, yeah.
I think those shared mythologies. So Thanksgiving is as a national holiday, absolutely. Or Memorial Day, any of those national holidays where the country has decided this is an important thing and we're going to take the time for it. Every country has these things. But I think you're right. I think one of the things that helps to bind America is a healthy dose of capitalism and corporatism. And because it's in those brands that you have that thing, I can go to Starbucks anywhere I want, and that is something that I think is very weird. There's I've talked about this dude before, the guy that has this wonderful website. It's called the Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows, and he creates these words for very specific things. And one of these words, maybe we've talked about this before, is...
sounds familiar.
Yeah, Sonder. The idea that Sonder is, the definition of it is the moment that you realize that the people who are the extras in the movie of your life, the lights on the highway, the people passing by on the street, that you are to them as they are to you, and that each of them has their own story and their own thing. And I was thinking about that recently, just now, because of this conversation, because, for example, in the before times, I used to tour a lot. I was away all the time, and I was in many very different...
Before COVID, the before times.
In the before times.
This is going to be a mythological moment here,
yeah.
The before times.
And I would travel around a lot, and then I started to realize, or just became bewusst, I became conscious of it, that in Vienna we've got an H&M, but there's that same H&M in every place in the German-speaking world, and they've all got the same stuff, and they've got so much stuff. There's so much stuff out there, and that is something that binds Austria, because you get the same stuff at that H&M as you do in Germany, as you do in Denmark. You might find something a little different somewhere else, but it's such a weird thing. And that corporatism that you talk about, like in America, there's a homogeny throughout this huge, large country that has so many regions, that if somebody kidnapped you and blindfolded you, stuck you in, pardon me, a helicopter and set you down somewhere, it would be really hard to know where in America you were, because it all looks the same.
Yeah.
And it's because of the of all the corporatism.
Yeah.
In any case, I was just thinking about that idea because everywhere is weird, but there is one country that is the strangest.
And that's Belgium.
And that's Belgium. So let's talk about Belgium real quick.
I think Belgium is probably the strangest country because we don't know anything about Belgium. It's like it's this weird little country that's somewhere and they have their thing, but they don't feature. It's like Belgium's a close second to Finland, in the words of Monty Python, right? So, I mean, it's a weird niche country that is, it's defined by nothing that we know. There's no. Can you name one product that comes from Belgium?
Oh yeah, beer.
Which Belgium? No. Name a product, not a thing.
Oh, I don't know.
See, Gorge. I think that's Belgium actually.
They've got over 400 beers.
And Bosch.
Belgium
they are the brewmeisters.
Yeah.
Schlechthin. But do we know their products? Do we know their actual mark?
Because they're weird. They're very strange. Now, just real quick, Mr. Perkins saying Iowa looks very different from Washington. Yeah, if Iowa existed, because we all know it's weird. No, Belgium is okay. I'm going to tell you a story now. And this is the reason why I believe Belgium is, no, this is not the reason, but this doesn't tell you why the Belgians are the weirdest.
We will never know why.
But it will tell you a little bit of how Belgium is the weirdest.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
The crux, we get closer to the truth.
If you go to Antwerp,
yes,
a beautiful city in Belgium, and you go to the center of Antwerp, there is a statue. And this statue is very big and it's very beautiful. And this statue portrays the Entstehung, the grounding, the mythology of how Antwerp was founded.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am going to get names wrong. So
this is not new to anybody.
If any Belgians out there can please correct me, I'm going to get as close as I can to the real names. It's not going to be a pronunciation problem. It's going to be me inventing words that I cannot remember. So you go to Antwerp and you look at Antwerp and you go to the middle of the city and there's this statue. And this statue talks about how Belgium was founded. And the story goes like this. Once upon a time, way back in the day when magic was real, in that area of the world, people lived peacefully in harmony.
Of course they did.
And one day, a giant came.
Was he a German giant?
The giant came, and the giant had a name. I can't remember the giant's name. We're going to call the giant
Gottfried.
We're going to call the giant Gottfried. And Gottfried came and he started to terrorize the peaceful living people in this area.
Yeah.
And for many days and many nights, Gottfried just pounded around until finally a young hero stepped forward and said he would go and fight Gottfried. And his name was Bibo. That's probably wrong too, but we're going to call him Bibo.
That's from the Lord of the Rings.
No, that's Bilbo. Oh. Now, Bibo goes and starts to fight with the giant. And he fights with the giant for 3 days and 3 nights. And on the morning of the 4th day...
Go on, Antigone.
On the morning of the 4th day, Bibo defeats Druon Antigone, better known as Gottfried. He kills the giant and he cuts off the left hand of the giant, takes the hand and throws the hand over the river that goes through that area. And the river's name is, let's call it the Schakel. The Schakel River.
Wait a minute. Antwerp is...
Just let me tell my fucking story, Michael, and don't fuck with my punchline like you always do, god damn you. So, he takes the hand and he throws it over the river Schakel. In Old Flemish, that act of throwing the hand is handwerpen. Like in German, handwerfen, it's handwerpen. And over the years, handwerpen, Antwerpen, it turned into Antwerpen, Antwerp. And so the name of the city, the people there, they didn't name the city after the giant. They didn't name the city after
the hero.
They didn't even name the city after the river. They named Skelt instead of this, whatever I said, the Skelt. They didn't name it after any of those people. They named it after a verb. And that, I think...
Antwerpen!
I think is amazing because... Yeah, Pavlov's dog. Let me finish my damn story. I love it that the Belgians are so strange because they name their city after a verb, and it makes you wonder, what would Antwerp be called if the hero had cut something else off? Would we be going to visit people in Aschwerpen?
Kokwerpen.
Would we go to Schwanswerpen? Have you been to Schwanswerpen in the spring? It's beautiful. Dikwerpen.
What if he'd done something completely different, like Handjerken?
If he hadn't thrown it, if he had taken the hand and...
Could have been anything, yeah.
Anyway, this is my story to prove to everyone that Belgium is the strangest country.
It is weird.
We don't have to talk about the fact that they live so long without a government. We can't talk about the fact that, you know, the seed of everything is already there. We can't talk about the fact that these people are so incredibly open and friendly and warm and generous, despite the fact that every time there's a war, everybody that goes in there fucks them over royally. I think Belgium is a wonderful and strange place.
And Hercule Poirot comes from Belgium.
And so many other
It's
comics.
like the best.
Tintin. Tintin.
Tintin.
Lucky Luke. Isn't Lucky Luke Belgium?
That could be true.
I don't know about that one.
That could be true.
All right, that's the end of my story.
I thought you were going to say he throws the hand over the river Scheldt into Holland.
And says, here, you deal with that shit.
You guys deal with this shit, yeah.
And that's the story of Christmas. No, but I love this story. I love that story because what the hell? There's another thing about Amsterdam that I think is really interesting because there's such a huge, pardon me, of Antwerpen. Because of the huge Jewish population, there is a fence, a line around the entire city that is secret, and they keep secret because of some, I think it's an Orthodox tradition that you have to be in a place to have business, and so they put it's like a thin wire. I was told about it, and it goes around the entire city, and there's places and certain people that know where that is, and they make sure that it's there, and it's a very cool and very strange tradition.
Were you high when you heard this? Have you ever been to Belgium and not been high?
Oh, sure.
I can't remember ever being to Belgium and not being high. I think I've always been high in Belgium. I think it's one of my coping strategies.
Mr. Perkins, also the only licensed speakers from the city are allowed to produce and sell them. Yeah, Antwerpse handjes. Yeah, and so within the city, they put that thing anyway. Anyway, that's I think
pretty cool.
On the strangest
I think Belgium is conclusively the strangest country.
Yeah, and to all of our Belgian friends, we love you all very, very much. Thank you for all of your hospitality.
And we want
that's the truth.
Antwerpia handjes
but you have
for Christmas.
Super strange country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you can buy beer with a cork in it. And when you buy beer bottles, there's corks in them.
Yeah. Back in the day, speaking of getting high, I had roommates that would always drink Grolsch beer because they had that ceramic topper with the, like a thing.
With the rubber.
And you take that off, you take the rubber off, and then you had that white ceramic thing, and they would call it the toke stone. Because in the States, you would roll a joint with pure marijuana, no tobacco. And when it got down to the end, it was super hot. So you'd stick it on one end and use the cold stone to smoke the rest of your joint in. And to have a toke in American slang is to smoke
Take
pot.
pull. Yeah.
And so they call that the toke stone.
Really?
Yeah. There you go. There's some action.
Le Belge.
Le Belge.
We love him.
Ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors, everyone in between, we have now come to a moment that some of you are all waiting for. And I am one of those people because I'm going to use this time to go to the bathroom. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time, after Uncle Jim's long story, for Uncle Mike's rant.
You kids, you have grown up in one of the most amazing times ever. You've got everything you want. When we wanted to have scooters, back when we were kids, we had to wait till Christmas. All you have to do is go downstairs, out on the road, and you can find at least 5, 50, 20, 30, 100 different scooters you can ride on. This is a gift. Time has given you this slot, this moment. Why do you abuse it? Why do you take that scooter, ride where you want to go, and then park it in everybody's way? What's that about? Can't you put it somewhere where it's not in everybody's way? Why can't you put it on the side of the pavement? Why does it have to be in the middle of the pavement? Why? Why do you have to ruin it for everybody? We've been given this moment in time where we can have scooters. What everybody wants electric scooters. Why can't we have this moment without someone coming and ruining it? You kids, pull yourselves together. Stop parking your scooters on the pavement. Messing it up for everyone. You're ruining it for everybody. Stop it. It stops now. God damn it. Well, they'll take them away and we'll never have scooters again. So pull yourselves together.
Oh, shit. Okay, I guess, hey, Uncle. It's now time for a word from our sponsor. And we're back. Yep. Best commercial ever.
Ooh, back really quickly, actually.
Yeah, I'm glad we were. I lost the condom.
That was a short commercial.
They're all, what? Yeah. So, and now since we're back, we're going to keep truggling along because our timing is all off for this show. You know, I have noticed though.
We're kind of okay. We're kind of okay.
We're okay.
We're not way off track.
Good. Maybe I should have another drink for the last chapter. What do you think about that?
You should. It should be vodka.
Is Mike really turning red, or is that a fancy effect? Nope, that's
what my face does when I get annoyed.
That's all technique.
I can make it turn green as well. I'll do that next week.
Uncle Mike is a consummate actor. There you are. Do I have one of mine over there?
No, but you can have this or this.
I'll have
or
some
both.
of that. I'll have some of that.
I think the combination of both is pretty good.
What's in that?
This is sparkling water.
Oh, perfect.
So, shall we move on to
Chapter 3?
Chapter 3.
On moving and the physics of stuff. We touched on this a little bit beforehand.
We might have. The interesting thing is that two people who have helped me move are here today. And one of them's you.
Yes.
And one of them's Andrew.
True dat. And we both have helped Andrew move.
This is also true.
Yeah.
Man. Oh, God. Do you remember that time?
I've helped Marcus move.
I don't think I've helped Marcus move before.
Marcus has helped me move.
I've helped you move.
Yes. I've helped you move.
Yeah.
Moving is a tough thing.
What's the weirdest or the coolest thing you ever did when you were moving?
Before I answer that, question to the chat. First about moving. How many times in your life have you moved?
Ooh.
And yes, we can count times like
when you were a kid.
When you were a kid, sure. How many times did you move? All right.
Oh God, I have to.
Well, that's for the chat.
I'd really have to count.
What were you going to ask? What did you ask me?
What's the weirdest, the coolest thing you've done when you moved?
Okay, so the coolest thing I've ever done with moving was when I moved from the Bramsplatz.
I know the story, but I will not steal the punchline.
Thank God.
Yes.
That'll be
I would like to chalk this down as I'm not stealing the punchline and telling everybody what it's about.
Make this the last time you did this for the first time. So, I used to live in the Bramsplatz in this amazing apartment, and one of the things that happened was I got this table, this big, beautiful wooden Alt-Biedermeier table. It was given to me by the grandma that owned this apartment that I had been living in. And the problem was that the apartment had been renovated around the table. And so we couldn't get the table out of the apartment. And so we got the table out of the window, and Max, who is passed on, Bronwyn's ex-husband who died a while back, he was a mountain climber, and he brought his ropes, and we had like a bunch of people. You were there pulling the thing away, and this table comes down, slams against the facade of the building. All of the puts comes running down. We finally get it onto the ground, and there's not a scratch on it. It is awesome. Super, super cool.
I think I've moved 18 times.
Dang! Thank you for listening to my story instead of counting the times.
No, but I know this. I knew the story. I knew the story.
I know, I'm just kidding. So, 18.
Yeah.
All right. What is the weirdest or coolest thing that happened to you?
Well, one of the coolest things.
And I'm going to count now while you talk.
So I'm moving with Andrew, and we're moving like two streets down from where he's living, and we've got a truck. And we pull into the side street, and there's parking right in front of the building he needs to move into. But there's a motorcycle parked right where we want to put the truck. Like there's half the space we need on the front side of the motorcycle, and half the space we need on the rear side of the motorcycle. And we're like in this truck, and we're like, fuck. And we look at each other, and we're like, move the bike. And we get out of the truck and pick the bike up and carry it down the road and park it somewhere else so we can park our bike. So that's like the coolest thing.
I remember that story. That's why I didn't listen. No.
How many?
I'm around 15, 16, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think most of them were in, I don't know. Nothing I say is ever true.
Did you move a lot as a kid?
No. I lived in a trailer park for like the first 4 or 5 years of my life. Then we lived for a little while with different people while my parents were building a house. Then I moved to that house, and then that house I lived in until I moved out of that house. And then I lived in several apartments in the States, and then I started moving to different places in the States and lived in different places. And then I moved to Austria, and I moved around in Austria.
You've only ever lived in Vienna, in Austria, is that true?
Yeah, I mean, there was a time, or there were lengthy stays of time that I lived in Salzburg, but that was really staying, no, I wasn't really.
You hadn't moved all your shit there?
No, I lived in Vienna, yeah.
I remember moving as a kid. We moved a couple of times when I was a kid, and it was always a bit of an adventure because this huge moving truck would pull up, and we'd put all our stuff in there, and they had hundreds of blankets because they'd cover everything in blankets so it didn't get scratched up and dented on the way, right?
Yeah.
And it was great for us kids because we'd like climb in there, and because the trailer was built up over where it hooks onto the truck.
Right.
So it would be a flatbed for a long part of the trailer, and then there'd be this hump where it hooks onto the truck, and behind that is where they kept all the blankets.
Right.
we'd go and hide in there. And
Oh, yeah, totally.
hiding games underneath all these blankets. I remember doing that with my brother.
And they would pack stuff in, and then you have to climb over to get out. Oh,
Yeah.
You know, did I ever tell you that I lived in Key West, Florida for about a year?
I wasn't there for that move.
No, you weren't there for that move. But I worked for U-Haul.
Really? My God.
I actually managed a U-Haul, and in the first 6 months of working at that U-Haul, I turned that U-Haul into the number 3 U-Haul
Ooh!
in the United States.
Look at you.
I have got stories about that U-Haul place.
Well, I'm glad I reminded you of that, Andrew. More like it's 10. Moko saying 10, counting, not listening.
Counting, not listening. That's the title of your new album.
Counting, not listening.
Not listening. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's like
the bassist is only counting to 2.
No, the bass player joke. It's like the band's playing. Okay, another musician joke. The band's playing, and there's this beautiful woman in the front row, and the lead singer, he's like, oh man, she's hot, I want to sleep with her. While he's singing, he's thinking, oh yeah. And the guitar player is like, oh man, she's gorgeous, but I'm hotter. And the drummer is like, oh yeah, oh no, I already slept with her. Because the drummers always sleep with everybody. And the bass player is playing, and he's like, C, 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 F, 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 C's.
Yeah.
Bass player jokes. What the hell were we talking about? Moving. Now, we have a lot of times that you move. There's a lot of crazy things about moving. There's like the last time that I moved and I hired some people to come and get my stuff. Dudes come in, I call them up, we make out a price, they come, they start doing the thing, and then the boss comes and says, no, the price is actually 3 times.
No way.
And
fuck those guys.
And then he was like, well, I can have them unload the truck now.
You should have said, okay, go for it.
I wish I could
While you call somebody else to come and pick your stuff off the pavement.
Yeah, but who are you going to call then? You have to find somebody else to do that. And so when they've got you by the balls,
they're not going to do that. They're not going to take all that stuff that they've already put in the truck and take it out and put it back on the pavement. No way.
You think they were bluffing?
I think they were bluffing. That's like half a day's work.
It wasn't quite half a day's work. It was a lot of stuff. It was a great scam.
Fuck those guys.
And I just remember looking at the dudes who I had been treating like fucking kings, and they were so embarrassed by this whole thing. And I was just like talking to this dude, and it ended up costing, I don't know, I ended up paying like $100 more than what we had decided upon.
Yeah.
But at that point, it was just like, fuck, I just need to get it done. And that's exactly what that scam is.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, sure.
That was a bunch of bullshit.
Moved it. Donna's saying
Donna's in the house.
Couch, standing on the running boards of a car and balancing the couch on the roof.
Oh yeah, I love those moves, like with the mattress on the top, and you've got like your hand on the top of the roof of the mattress, like you're gonna hold the mattress there.
Yeah,
fuck, man.
You break and it comes down over the top. I once moved a really old cupboard. It was one of those old handmade cupboards from the 19th century that my then girlfriend had inherited, and we drove out to Salzburg to go and fetch it. And we carefully carried it from the apartment that it was in down to the road, and we strapped it to the roof of the car. We had a roof carrier, and we put a tarpaulin over it, and it was strapped down. It was all immaculate.
Yeah.
We drive back to Vienna, and we get to Vienna, and it's rained, and it was windy, but the tarpaulin stayed in place, and we survived, and it was all great. And the rain stops as we get into Vienna, and we take the tarpaulin off, and it's all in one piece, and we're happy, and we're carrying it up the flight of stairs. And we're in the second floor, and floor 1.5, the whole thing just collapses. It's just all the glue in that thing just gives way, and it collapses into a handful of boards.
Oh, it's awful.
It was terrible. I spent 3 weeks gluing it back together. There were parts of that had been, the wood was so dry that there were parts that had been together that would no longer fit together.
Right.
But I managed to glue the whole thing together, and it actually worked as a cupboard again after that. But there was a big gash down the back.
That sucks. I noticed in the chat there was a moment where, and I can't find it now. Oh yeah, there it is. Phase E12T13. I moved 0 times.
No way!
I think that is amazing, and I love this. You know, because it's so rare nowadays.
He's lying.
It could be.
Really? My God!
I don't think they're lying.
No. I'm just
but to move 0 times.
That's incredible.
To be in the. I mean, for us, of course, it's weird because we are. But
it's really incredible. That
it's
means,
very rare.
That means you live
rare.
in the house that you grew up in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So phase E12T13. Are you a farmer? Did you grow up in the house?
Is that the only reason why people stay where they?
Well, I mean, it's one of the reasons why people stay.
I mean, the fact is
where they grew up.
that nowadays we are a far more transient generation, and I think that really started in our generation. That we are fucking Bedouins nowadays, and that's why it's so rare.
It's very unusual to
and very cool.
Live. I think it's something that you might actually encounter more often in rural areas in many countries, where you grow up on a farm or you grow up in a house that has enough space for another house to be built or for an extension of that house to be built. So when you are an adult, you can have your own part of the house or extend, or you just move next door or something like that.
But I think part of it is that you don't have a choice. You are bound to that house because of familial things, or also because you don't. If you live in a city, then you have the choice to go to an apartment to rent, and it's harder to do that in rural areas. And so the inheriting of a place that you live is far more common. It's the same thing.
It's also cheaper.
Well, yeah, sure. We haven't gotten to touch on the physics of stuff.
Yes, my God.
And
yes.
I would like to put that as its own chapter. Another time we're going to
really,
because we need to wrap this stuff up.
We're going to call this. Okay.
Yeah, and wait a second. What's this? Yeah, they're still here. Do you know how old they are? It's not so unknown if they were like 15. What the hell are we talking about?
These guys are having their own.
Oh, they're just having their own thing. I love it. Moko and Pavlov's dog getting it on. Okay. Moving is super weird. We all have done it. We all will do it, except for phase E12. I'm never going to remember that.
E12, T13.
Whether you move or whether you stay in one place, stuff has its own thing, and we are going to talk about that another time.
Yeah, the physics of stuff. I was actually hoping we'd get to the physics of stuff.
We're gonna give it its own chapter.
It's gonna be its own topic. Yeah,
we're gonna have to do that
because dang. The last time Jim helped me move.
Something just happened to the thing?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
The last time Jim helped me move, I still remember this vividly. He looked at me with a kind of pitiful look, but it was also an annoyed look because he'd been carrying my stuff like the better part of a day. And he says, "You've got a ton of shit."
We all have so much stuff. But you know, Michael,
some of the stuff you moved the last time you helped me move, which is more than 12 years ago, is still in the same boxes you moved it in. I've moved it from the cellar you took it from to the cellar it now resides in, and I haven't looked at it. It's still in there.
But this is about the physics of stuff.
This is the physics of stuff.
I think to wrap up moving, and just to be sticking with moving, weird shit's gonna happen when you move. Look out for scams when you move. And remember that if somebody helps you move, they love you very much.
You owe them.
No amount of beer or pizza is recompense for helping somebody move.
What is recompense? What counts?
If you decide to help someone move, you do that to show this person how much you love them. And if you refuse to help somebody move, for whatever reason, that's okay. You don't have to help people move. But if anybody on the other side of it, if anybody ever helps you move, just remember to hang on to that person because they love you. And that's a huge thing.
I think there's a lot to be said for that. I also think there's a lot to be said for if your friends refuse to help you move after they have already helped you move at least once.
Then you fucked up. Then you're like one of those people that are like, yeah, it's going to be really, it's going to be 2 hours.
You've got too much shit.
You got too much shit. You're going to be one of those.
Or it's just like, how many moves have they got in them?
Yeah. I'm not helping you move this time because the next time is coming in 3 months, and I know that. So just hold on. So I've got love.
I think once is enough, actually.
Yeah.
I think once is enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we didn't even get into the politics of it. You know, don't be one of those people that is still packing when your friends.
Oh fuck!
When your friends arrive,
no,
don't be one of those people that's like, well, we'll just start throwing shit into trash bags and then take it. No. Don't be one of the. Oh God damn you.
Okay, you guys, it's been a hoot. I'm thinking we'll be back next week.
We're definitely going to be back next week. I think this was perhaps the best.
Stellar.
The best. Not stellar. The best Is-Baz ever.
I think you might be right. It's quite possible.
Quick shout out to Let's Do It, Moko, Marcus, Pavlov's dog. Thank you so much.
L12T13.
Donna, thank you very, very much. Phase E12T13.
L21T14.
Yes.
T24.
Moko. Did we say Moko already?
Yeah,
and then
you guys.
There was Moko, and I think that's what we
like
did.
Marcus
did we hit everybody?
I think
we hit everybody. I hope we didn't miss anybody. If we didn't miss anybody, I hope we didn't miss anybody. Thank you all so very much for joining us. Again, Pavlov's dog, thank you so much for taking a shit on our lawn, which Michael said it. It's amazing. Thank you so very much, everybody. We're going to come back next week.
Yeah.
Maybe in the between time, Uncle Mike, we're going to work on some new segments and stuff. And we might even get to editing some things. I don't know. We've got plans and stuff. It's going to be awesome.
You know, work.
We're just so happy that you guys are here, and we just love having this every Thursday. It's awesome. Slurp, slurp.
We will see how many cats have taken over the show next week. I look forward to it. You guys, everybody wave to Verena. Verena, wave at the camera. And we'll see you next week. Thank you.